I woke up that morning with a weight on my chest that seemed impossible to carry. The company, which I had built with so much effort and dedication, was about to fall apart. It was as if all my dreams and years of hard work were about to evaporate before my eyes. Each step I took towards the office felt heavier than the last, but I knew I needed to face the situation head-on. Upon entering the office, I was immediately struck by the somber mood that hung in the air. The whispers in the hallways, the worried looks, and the palpable tension told me everything I needed to know. Rumors of layoffs and budget cuts were spreading like wildfire. I tried to maintain my composure as I walked to my office, but I knew I needed to get my team together as quickly as possible. "Laura, I need to talk to you," I said, when I got home that night, exhausted and discouraged. Laura, my wife and my safe haven, was sitting on the couch, reading a book. She looked up and, upon seeing my expression, immediately closed the book and came to me. "What happened, Ryan?" she asked, concern evident in her voice. "The company is worse than I imagined. Investors are threatening to bail out, and sales have plummeted. If we don't find a solution quickly, we're going to go bankrupt," I replied, feeling the anguish consuming me. Laura sighed and placed her hands on my shoulders. "We will get through this together. You are not alone." Despite Laura's comforting words, the tension between us only increased. The long hours I put in at work were starting to take their toll. I often arrived home late, exhausted and without energy to talk or relax. Laura tried to be understanding, but I could see the frustration building up in her eyes. The next morning, I called an urgent meeting with my team. As everyone gathered in the conference room, I could feel the anxiety in the air. Max, our young programming genius, was sitting next to Clara, our marketing veteran, and they both looked equally worried. "Thank you for coming so quickly," I began, trying to keep my voice steady. "We are facing an unprecedented crisis. We need to find a solution, and quickly. I am open to all ideas and suggestions." Max was the first to speak. "Ryan, what if we release a new feature in our app? Something innovative that could attract new users?" Clara, however, was quick to voice her concerns. "Max, that would take time. We need something immediate. Maybe an aggressive marketing campaign could help." As the discussion continued, I felt the pressure building. Every idea seemed to hit an obstacle, and the tension in the room only grew. Finally, I had to intervene. "I know the situation is difficult, but we need to work together," he said, trying to remain calm. "I will spend tonight reviewing all the suggestions, and tomorrow we will decide our next move." When I returned home, I found Laura in the kitchen, preparing dinner. She gave me a worried look but said nothing. I knew I needed a moment to process everything. "Laura, sometimes I feel like I'm failing at everything," I confessed, feeling vulnerable. She came over and hugged me. "You're not failing, Ryan. You're fighting. And I'm here, by your side, no matter what." Those words gave me a little relief. I knew that no matter how dark the situation might seem, I had an incredible woman by my side and a team willing to fight alongside me. We needed a solution, and fast. But, above all, we needed to believe that it was possible to win this battle. And with Laura by my side, I felt like, somehow, we would make it. Determined to save the company, I began working tirelessly on a marketing strategy that could get us out of the hole. Sleepless nights became a routine, but I knew I needed to find a creative and effective solution. Laura, my wife, had always supported me, but even she was starting to worry about my health. "Ryan, you need to get some rest," she would say, as I hunched over my laptop at the kitchen table. "I can't stop now, Laura. We're on the edge of the precipice. If we don't do something revolutionary, we're going to sink for good," I replied, without taking my eyes off the screen. It was during one of these early mornings that the idea came up. Instead of following traditional marketing approaches that weren't already working, I decided we needed something bold, something that would really grab attention. Proposing viral campaigns and unexpected partnerships seemed to be the most promising path. We needed to give people a reason to talk about our company, and that required creativity and a little boldness. The next morning, I called an emergency meeting with my core team. Max, our young programming genius, always full of innovative ideas, was there. Clara, our marketing veteran, was also present, although I knew she preferred more conservative strategies. I have a proposal that could turn the tide for us, I began, taking in the tired and skeptical faces around me. We need a viral campaign that really makes a splash. And to do that, we need to think outside the box. I'm talking about partnerships with influencers, impactful content, and a completely new approach. Clara raised an eyebrow. Ryan, you know this is a big risk. What if it doesn't work? We could end up burning what little reputation we have left. I understand the concern, Clara. But staying in the comfort zone won't save us this time. We need to be bold. Max, do you have any ideas on how we can implement this? Max, who was working on his laptop, looked up and smiled. I actually have some ideas that I've been working on. We can use artificial intelligence to personalize the user experience and create a series of interactive videos that can spread like wildfire on social media. Clara looked skeptical, but said nothing. I knew we needed to do something different. It's okay, Ryan. I'm in. But we need to make sure this campaign is executed well. We can't afford to make mistakes. I agree, Clara, I replied. That's why I want you and Max to lead this initiative. I know you have different approaches, but this diversity of thought could be our greatest advantage. Max and Clara looked at each other, and for a moment, there was a palpable tension in the air. But eventually they both nodded. Let's do this, Max said, a gleam of excitement in his eyes. Clara, still a little reluctant, also agreed. Let's work on this together. With the team aligned, we started developing the campaign. Max and Clara, despite their differences, began to collaborate in surprising ways. Max brought his revolutionary ideas, while Clara ensured everything was strategically viable and well planned. The first few days were challenging. There were moments of frustration and disagreements, but little by little, we found a balance. Laura, always my rock, also made some valuable suggestions. Why not explore partnerships with brands that complement ours? This can expand our reach without compromising our image. Great idea, Laura, I replied, writing down the suggestion. Finally, after weeks of hard work, we launched the campaign. The results began to appear slowly. Viral videos, strategic partnerships, and an innovative approach began to attract the attention we so desperately needed. Engagement metrics soared, and we started to see an increase in investor interest. The strategy was working. Even though there was still a long way to go, for the first time in months, I felt a glimmer of hope. We were on the right path, and I knew that, with the dedication and talent of my team, we could save the company and ensure a promising future. The relationship between Max and Clara was tumultuous from the beginning. Max, with his revolutionary ideas and disruptive approach, often clashed with Clara, who preferred more traditional and safer strategies. I knew that for our innovative marketing strategy to work, these two would need to find a happy medium. But, as the days went by, the tension between them only increased. One afternoon, right after a particularly tense meeting, I decided to intervene. I called Max and Clara to my room for a chat. Laura had suggested some mindfulness techniques to help keep the team calm and focused, and I was determined to put them into practice. Max, Clara, we need to talk, he said, trying to sound as calm as possible. Max, with his headphones hanging around his neck and a look of frustration, was the first to speak. Ryan, I know my ideas are bold, but they can really make a difference. We can't keep playing it safe. Clara, on the other hand, crossed her arms and let out a sigh. Max, you don't understand that we need to ensure the stability of the company. We can't risk everything on a bunch of guesswork. I raised my hand to stop the argument before it got worse. I understand both sides, I began, which is why we need to find a balance. Clara, your strategies are solid and have worked well so far. Max, your ideas are innovative and can take us to new heights. What we need is to combine these two approaches. They looked at each other, clearly skeptical, but remained silent. Laura suggested some mindfulness techniques that can help us stay focused and calm. I want us to try one of them now. Let's close our eyes and take a deep breath. Just focus on your breathing. They hesitated, but ended up closing their eyes and following my instructions. After a few minutes of silence, I felt that the tension in the room had eased a little. Now, let's try again, I suggested, but this time, let's listen to each other without interrupting. Clara, can you start? Clara took a deep breath and began to speak, this time in a calmer tone. Max, I understand that your ideas are important and that we need to innovate. But we have to make sure we are making calculated decisions. We can't risk the entire company on a single move. Max listened attentively and, when it was his turn to speak, responded more thoughtfully. I understand, Clara. Maybe we can find a way to test some of my ideas on a smaller scale before fully implementing them. This way, we don't put everything at risk. I smiled, pleased with the progress. This is exactly what we need. Work together to find solutions that combine the best of both worlds. Over the next few weeks, we continued to use mindfulness and open communication techniques. Little by little, Max and Clara began to find a balance in their approaches. In one of the meetings, Clara even praised one of Max's proposals. Max, this idea for the social media campaign is really interesting. Maybe we can combine it with our current strategy to reach a larger audience, she said, surprising everyone in the room. Max smiled, clearly pleased. Thank you, Clara. I think this combination could really work. Seeing this collaboration develop was an immense relief. I knew our marketing strategy depended on this synergy between Max and Clara, and seeing the two of them working together effectively gave me a new sense of hope. One night, talking to Laura at home, I shared my satisfaction. I think things are finally lining up. Max and Clara are working together in ways I never imagined possible. Laura smiled, always my pillar of support. I'm glad to hear that, Ryan. Sometimes all people need is a little guidance and patience. She was right. And with this new team dynamic, I was more confident than ever that we could overcome the crisis and take the company to new heights. The last straw came on a Wednesday afternoon, when I received an email with the title "New Threat on the Market." When I opened it, my stomach dropped. It was an article about a rival startup about to launch a product almost identical to ours, led by none other than Alex. I remember closing my eyes and taking a deep breath, trying to process the news. Laura, do you have a minute? I called my wife to my home office. She walked in, and upon seeing my expression, her face softened into a mix of concern and support. What happened, Ryan? Alex. He's about to launch a product that's practically a copy of ours. And you know he's going to do everything he can to sabotage us. Laura came over and put her hand on my shoulder. Remember what you always say, it's not about what they do, it's about how you react. She was right, but the rivalry between Alex and I ran deeper than simple market competition. We met in college, and since then, every achievement of mine seemed to be a reason for him to try to surpass or discredit me. While I pursued innovation, he always seemed a step behind, ready to copy and improve what I created. The next day, I gathered my team to discuss the imminent threat. Clara was the first to speak. We know Alex plays dirty. We need to be prepared for anything. Max, ever the optimist, added, yes, but we have something he doesn't, our passion for what we do. We can use that to our advantage. I knew the team was nervous, but there was a fire in their eyes that gave me hope. We're going to continue with our marketing strategy, but we need to be even more aggressive. Max, Clara, I want you to think of ways to highlight what makes us unique. If Alex is copying us, he doesn't have the same authenticity. That night, Laura and I discussed Alex once again. He's always been like this, Ryan. You can't let him get you down, she said as she prepared dinner. I know, but it's frustrating. Every time I think we're making progress, he shows up to get in the way, I replied, feeling the weight of the situation. Laura smiled. Remember why this all started? It wasn't for Alex, it was for you, for us, for our vision. And you have an incredible team that believes in this. The following days were a race against time. Each new idea needed to be secured and implemented quickly. Max and Clara, despite their differences, began to work together like never before. The tension between them seemed to dissipate in the face of the common threat. On Friday, I received an unexpected call. "Ryan, we need to talk." The voice on the other end was unmistakable. "Alex?" I asked, surprised. "Yes. Can we meet tomorrow? There are things you need to know." Reluctantly but curious, I agreed. The next day, we met at a discreet cafe. Alex was thinner and looked tired. "Ryan, I know you must hate me, but there's something going on that you need to know. I'm not the one trying to bring you down. There are bigger people behind this." I was skeptical. "Why should I believe you, Alex?" He looked directly into my eyes. "Because I know how much this means to you. And because deep down, I want you to succeed too. Just in a different way." The conversation left me confused, but also more determined. I went back to the office and gathered the team. "Guys, we have to be more united than ever. Alex may be a problem, but there are greater forces at play. Let's show the world what we are capable of." The rivalry with Alex continued, but now there was a new layer of complexity. He was not only an adversary, but also something of an unwitting ally. The journey was far from over, but with the right team and renewed motivation, I knew we could face any challenge. Forming a partnership with Zoe was, without a doubt, one of the boldest decisions I've made in my career. Zoe was a very popular but also quite controversial digital influencer. His public image was controversial, with strong opinions and a legion of fans as fervent as his detractors. This was exactly the kind of impact I thought our marketing campaign needed. However, the reception of this idea within the team was anything but unanimous. On a sunny Tuesday morning, I called a meeting to discuss the proposal. The conference room was packed, with all eyes fixed on me, waiting for the next step to save our company. Clara, with her generally reserved posture, was the first to express her opinion. "Ryan, do you really think associating our brand with Zoe is a good idea? She's so polarizing. It could alienate a lot of our loyal customers," Clara said, crossing her arms and giving me a skeptical look. Before I could respond, Max, the young programming genius, interrupted. "Look, Clara, I'm not exactly a fan of Zoe, but the truth is that she has a huge audience. If we could get just a fraction of that engagement, it would be a huge success." I knew this would be an uphill battle, so I took a moment to take a deep breath before speaking. "I understand everyone's concerns. But we are in a critical situation. We need something drastic, something that will really set us apart and put us back on the map. Partnering with Zoe could be just that." Laura, who was also present, gently raised her hand to intervene. "Ryan, I know how important this is to you and to all of us. But we need to make sure this partnership doesn't compromise our values. Is Zoe willing to align with our vision?" I nodded, appreciating Laura's concern. "I've already spoken with Zoe. She's willing to commit to certain parameters and work closely with our marketing team to ensure the message is positive and aligned with our goals." Clara still looked hesitant. "What if this goes wrong? We're putting all our resources into this campaign." It was then that I decided to be completely transparent. "I know it's a huge risk. But, Clara, all great successes come from great risks. The alternative is to continue as we are and face certain bankruptcy. We need something audacious." The room was silent for a few moments as everyone pondered my words. Finally, Clara sighed and gave a small nod. "Okay, Ryan. Let's do this. But we need to monitor closely and be ready to adjust the strategy if necessary." Max smiled, clearly excited at the prospect. "This is going to be epic. We're going to do our best." With the team finally on board, I started working on the details of the partnership with Zoe. We scheduled a meeting with her to discuss the campaign's guidelines and objectives. Zoe arrived at our office with her usual vibrant energy, and soon we were all gathered in the conference room. Zoe started the meeting with a confident smile. "So guys, I'm excited about this partnership. I know my image can be a little divisive, but I assure you that I can bring engagement that few other people can." Clara, still a little skeptical, asked, "Are you willing to adjust your content to align with our values and goals?" Zoe nodded without hesitation. "Of course. I'm here to collaborate and make sure everyone wins. Let's create something amazing together." As the meeting continued, I began to feel like we had made the right decision. Zoe was open to suggestions and genuinely interested in understanding our vision. We left the meeting with a solid plan and renewed enthusiasm. The following days were intense. We worked hand in hand with Zoe to create content that captured her authenticity while promoting our brand in a positive way. When we finally launched the campaign, the impact was immediate. Engagement numbers began to skyrocket, and the company, which previously seemed on the verge of collapse, began to breathe new air. Of course, there were criticisms and some customers walked away, but the balance was extremely positive. The bold partnership with Zoe proved to be the right move, and the company began to recover financially. Most importantly, the team, which was initially divided, now worked in synergy. It was a calculated risk, but in the end, partnering with Zoe proved key to our survival and eventual success. And I knew that without the support and constructive criticism from my team and Laura, none of this would have been possible. Internal betrayal. I never imagined that one of the most critical moments of my career would be marked not only by external pressure, but also by internal betrayal. At the height of our groundbreaking campaign with Zoe, I was starting to see signs of recovery within the company. However, little did I know that the real enemy was closer than I imagined. It was a Tuesday afternoon, and I was in a routine meeting with the leadership team. Max and Clara presented the latest results of the campaign, which finally showed promising numbers after weeks of uncertainty. I was beginning to feel a slight hope, something I hadn't felt in a while. When the meeting ended, my assistant, Lucas, asked to speak to me privately. "Ryan, I need to show you something," he said, with a tone of voice that made me immediately alert. Lucas was never one to dramatize situations, so he knew it was something serious. "Of course, Lucas, what happened?" I asked, trying to remain calm. Lucas closed my office door and placed some documents on the table. I was reviewing some financial reports and found these strange transactions. They're recent and they all lead to an account I don't recognize. I picked up the papers and started leafing through them. My heart sank when I realized someone was embezzling money from the company. "Who is behind this?" I asked, already sensing the worst. Lucas hesitated for a moment before responding. "The account is in Mark's name." My stomach nodded. Mark was one of my senior executives, someone I trusted from the beginning of the company. "It can't be," I muttered, more to myself than to Lucas. "He is sure?" "Yes, Ryan. I've reviewed it several times. He's trying to sell the company to our competitors." I felt a wave of anger and disappointment wash over me. I needed to act quickly. I decided to confront Mark immediately. I walked to his office, trying to maintain my composure. "Mark, can we talk?" I asked, walking in without waiting for a response. "Of course, Ryan." "What happened?" he said, with a smile that now looked like a mask. I threw the documents on his desk. "Do you want to explain this to me?" Mark turned pale when he saw the papers. "Ryan, I can explain." "Explain what?" "That you're trying to sell our company to competitors? That you're betraying us?" My voice was steady, but inside I was devastated. He tried to justify himself, mumbling something about a lack of faith in the company's recovery and the need to guarantee its future. But to me, his words sounded empty. I couldn't let this go. "You're fired, Mark. And I'm going to make sure everyone knows what you did," I stated firmly, feeling the need to protect my company and my team. I went back to the meeting room and called an emergency meeting with the entire team. "Guys, I need to talk to all of you about something serious we've discovered, I began, feeling the tension in the air. Mark was betraying our trust and trying to sell the company to our competitors. He was fired immediately. The room was silent for a moment, before Clara stood up. Ryan, how did this happen? How can we make sure something like this doesn't happen again? We will implement new security measures and review all financial processes. But the most important thing is that we need to remain united and focused. We are on the right track with our campaign, and we cannot let this betrayal bring us down. Max nodded. I'm with you, Ryan. Let's make this work. Supported by my team and the renewed strength I felt in exposing the betrayal, I redoubled my efforts to ensure our campaign with Zoe continued to thrive. I knew we would still face many challenges, but I was more determined than ever to save our company. With Mark out of the picture, internal trust was restored, and the team worked harder and more cohesively than ever before. Internal betrayal taught us a valuable lesson about resilience and the importance of maintaining integrity, even in the darkest of times. With Mark out of the way, the campaign with Zoe began to gain traction in ways I never could have imagined. Engagement and sales numbers were soaring, and for the first time in months, I felt like there was a light at the end of the tunnel. However, Alex's shadow still loomed over me, and I knew I couldn't let my guard down. I remember one particular morning when I walked into the office and noticed a different energy. Clara and Max were working in synergy, something I thought was impossible a few weeks ago. Clara, with her traditional strategies, and Max, with his revolutionary ideas, finally found a balance that was moving our campaign forward in surprising ways. Ryan, you need to see this, Max said, almost jumping with excitement as he showed me the engagement graphs. The numbers are incredible, Clara added, with a smile she rarely showed. I approached the screen and saw the ascending graphs. That's unbelievable, I murmured, my eyes almost watering with relief. Not only that, Clara continued, but we're receiving calls from investors interested in injecting capital into the company. It looks like we're finally turning the tide. At that moment, I realized that all our hard work was paying off. The long hours, the tensions, the internal betrayals, it was all finally starting to make sense. But I knew there was still a lot to be done. I decided to organize a team meeting to celebrate our small victories and align next steps. Guys, I began, I want to thank each and every one of you for all your effort and dedication. I know it hasn't been easy, but we are starting to see the fruits of our labor. However, there is still a long way to go, and we need to stay focused. Laura, my wife, was also present. She has always been my rock, and her presence at that moment was crucial to me. Ryan, it might be a good idea to share some of the next steps for the campaign. It might help keep everyone motivated, she suggested. Great idea, Laura, I agreed. Max and Clara, could you give us an update on the next phases of the campaign? Sure, Max replied, picking up the remote to project a presentation. We're planning a series of live events with Zoe that should increase our engagement even further. Additionally, Clara and I are working on some new remarketing strategies that should convert many of our current leads. Clara added, and we are in talks with some major industry influencers for future partnerships. If everything goes as planned, our visibility and credibility will skyrocket. Everyone in the room seemed excited about the news, and I felt a new wave of motivation run through the team. However, I knew Alex was still out there, waiting for an opportunity to take us down. After the meeting, I went back to my office and found a message in my email from Alex. Congratulations on the numbers, Ryan. But don't forget, the game isn't over yet. The threat implicit in his words reminded me that despite our progress, there were still challenges ahead. I talked to Laura about the message that night. He won't give up so easily, Laura. Alex has always been like this, he plays dirty. Then we need to be prepared, she replied, holding my hand. You have an incredible team and a campaign that is working. Don't let him get you down. With Laura's support and my team's newfound cohesion, I was determined to keep fighting. The success of the campaign with Zoe was just the beginning. I knew that with focus and determination, we could overcome any obstacle, including Alex. And so, with the shadow of rivalry still present, but with new hope in my heart, I continued to lead my team into a future that was finally beginning to look promising. I never imagined the situation could get any worse, but I underestimated Alex's ability to play dirty. As our campaign with Zoe was finally gaining traction and sales were soaring, Alex decided to launch a personal and professional attack on me. It was a Friday afternoon when I received the call from Clara. "Ryan, you need to see this now," she said in a tense, almost breathless voice. "Clara, what happened?" I asked, my stomach already starting to churn. "Alex launched a smear campaign against us. He's using your personal information, things he shouldn't know." I immediately opened my laptop and saw the headlines. Alex was spreading rumors about my personal life, insinuating character flaws, and questioning the integrity of our company. He had managed to dig up some old stories from his college days, twisting the facts to appear incriminating. This was a nightmare. I gathered my team at the office for an emergency meeting. Everyone was there: Max, Clara, Laura, and even Zoe, who was visibly uncomfortable with the situation. "This can't be happening," Max said, shaking his head in disbelief. "He crossed all limits." "We have to respond to this somehow, Ryan," Clara said, trying to remain calm. "But we need to be careful." Laura placed her hand on my shoulder, giving me a supportive look. "You're not alone in this, Ryan. Let's find a way to get through this." I took a deep breath and looked at everyone. "Okay, we need to be strategic. Clara, can you prepare an official press release? Something that reinforces our values and shows that we have nothing to hide." "Of course, I'll start right now," she replied, already picking up her notebook. "Max, can you monitor social media and see what the main points of attack are? We need to understand exactly what is being said and by whom. You can leave it to me, I'll track everything. Zoe, I know this is difficult, but I need you to use your influence to help us stem this negative tide. Maybe a personal video showing your support for our company?" Zoe nodded, albeit hesitantly. "I'll do what I can, Ryan." Laura pulled me aside as everyone got to work. "Ryan, we need to think of something else. Alex is playing dirty and he's not going to stop here." "I know, Laura. But what else can we do? Let's be transparent. Let's be honest. If there's anything that can save us now, it's the truth." I thought about it and realized she was right. We needed to face this crisis with the greatest integrity possible. I decided to prepare a public statement, something that came directly from me, without filters. The next morning I gathered the press and made my statement. "Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Ryan, founder and CEO of this company. Over the past few days, we have been the target of a smear campaign by a competitor. I want to make it clear that our company has always operated with integrity and transparency. I acknowledge that I made mistakes in past, as we all have, but I'm here to reaffirm my commitment to truth and innovation." The reaction was mixed at first, but gradually, the tide began to turn. People appreciated my honesty and the way the company was handling the situation. Clara and Max continued to work tirelessly, monitoring feedback and adjusting our strategy as needed. A week later, the situation began to stabilize. Sales began to grow again and public confidence was gradually restored. However, I knew that Alex's shadow still loomed over us. We needed to be prepared for his next move. "Ryan," Laura said one night while we were home, "you did what was right. No matter what Alex does, he can never take that away from you." I hugged her, feeling a mixture of relief and exhaustion. "Thank you, Laura. I don't know what I would do without you." She smiled. "You would do what you always do, find a way to win." And with that, we went to sleep, knowing that the path ahead was still uncertain, but confident that together, we could overcome anything. Facing the crisis that Alex caused seemed like a Herculean task, but with Laura by my side and the team united, I decided to face everything head-on. That morning, I woke up earlier than usual. Laura was by my side, her silent support stronger than any words of encouragement could be. She turned to me, her eyes full of determination. "Ryan, you know what you need to do. Be honest, be yourself. People will see the truth," she said, holding my hand. I took a deep breath and agreed. "You're right, Laura. It's time for me to face this head-on." I decided the best approach would be full transparency. I called a meeting with the entire team. The atmosphere was tense, but I knew I needed to be honest with them. Clara and Max were there, sitting side by side, a sign that their differences had finally been put aside in favor of something bigger. "Everyone," I began, "I want to thank you for your hard work and dedication over the past few weeks. I know we have faced many challenges, and now we face yet another. Alex has launched a smear campaign against us, but we will not be intimidated." Clara stood up and asked, "Ryan, what do you plan to do?" "Be honest," I replied. "I will make a public statement acknowledging our past mistakes and reaffirming our commitment to integrity and innovation. It is the only way we will regain the public's trust." Max, always skeptical, raised his hand. "What if transparency isn't enough? What if people don't believe us?" "Then we'll make them believe, Max. Because the truth has a power that no lie can erase," I reinforced. With the plan drawn up, I prepared my public statement. Laura helped me proofread every word, ensuring my message was clear and sincere. When the moment finally arrived, I sat down in front of the camera and started talking. "Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Ryan, and I am the founder and CEO of this company. Over the past few days, we have been the target of a smear campaign. I want to be transparent with you. I have made mistakes in the past. Mistakes that have taught me valuable lessons about leadership and integrity. I'm here to reaffirm our commitment to innovation and truth. We believe in you, our customers and partners." The reaction was immediate. Social media exploded with messages of support, and public confidence began to rebuild. Clara and Max, now working in perfect synergy, began to develop new ideas to further boost our campaign. "Ryan, we have a new campaign proposal," Clara said, walking into my office with Max. "I think you'll like it." I looked at their ideas, a combination of innovation and tradition that perfectly captured the spirit of our company. "That's brilliant, Clara, Max. Let's get on with it." As the days passed, engagement and sales numbers soared. The company began to recover financially, and team morale was at an all-time high. Finally, I received the news I was waiting for: the promotion was guaranteed. However, one last twist was yet to come. Laura and I were having dinner at home when I received a call from an unknown number. I answered hesitantly, and the voice on the other end of the line made me freeze. "Ryan, it's about Alex. We have proof that he was behind Mark's betrayal." My heart raced. "This changes everything. Thanks for letting me know." I gathered all the evidence, and, the next day, I called a press conference. "Today, I'm here to reveal something important. We have evidence that Alex, my former colleague, was behind the internal betrayal that almost destroyed our company. This is a clear example of how dishonesty never triumphs in the end." The public reaction was immediate and overwhelming. Alex was unmasked, losing the trust of investors and partners. I, on the other hand, was celebrated not only for saving the company, but also for my integrity and resilience. At the end of that long day, Laura hugged me tightly. "You did it, Ryan. I'm so proud of you." I smiled, feeling a huge weight finally lifted from my shoulders. "I couldn't have done it without you, Laura. And without our team." So, with the company saved and my promotion secured, we were ready for a new chapter, stronger and more united than ever. When it finally seemed like everything was falling into place, a new revelation fell like a bomb among our team. I was in my office, reviewing campaign performance reports with Zoe, when Max rushed in, visibly agitated. "Ryan, you need to see this," he said, handing me a flash drive. "I found something in Mark's old communications. I think it might be the missing piece to understanding his betrayal." I put the pen drive in the computer and started opening the files. What I saw left me speechless. There were emails, messages and even recordings of conversations between Mark and Alex. Yes, Alex himself, who has made my life hell these past few months. He was behind Mark's betrayal. It wasn't just an attempt to sabotage our company, but a calculated move to destroy everything I had built. This is unbelievable, I muttered, still processing the information. He went too far. Laura, who was in the next room, came in upon hearing my tone of voice. What happened, Ryan? I showed her the evidence. Alex was manipulating Mark to sabotage us. Not only did he want our company to go bankrupt, but he also wanted to destroy my reputation. Laura looked at me, her eyes reflecting a mixture of anger and determination. You can't leave it like this. He needs to be exposed. I agreed. It was time to act. I gathered the entire team in the conference room and shared the findings with them. Guys, I know we've been through a lot together, but this is the last straw. Alex has gone too far. We need to expose his dishonest tactics and make sure he pays for it. Clara was the first to speak. I'm with you, Ryan. It's time to show everyone who he really is. Max nodded. Let's do this. We have the evidence, now we just need to plan how we're going to present everything. We spent hours discussing the best approach. Laura suggested that we hold a press conference, where I could speak directly to the public and show the evidence against Alex. I agreed with the idea. It was the most transparent and direct way to deal with the situation. On the day of the conference, I felt nervous, but also determined. Laura was by my side, giving me strength. Max and Clara had prepared all the tests in an easy-to-understand format, and I felt ready to face whatever came my way. Good afternoon, everyone, I began, looking at the cameras and journalists in the room. Today I'm here to talk about something that has deeply affected us as a company and as a team. We recently discovered that a former rival, Alex, had been manipulating one of our senior executives, Mark, to sabotage our efforts and destroy our reputation. We have proof clear of their dishonest actions, and today we will expose everything. I projected the emails, messages and recordings on the screen. Each test was a stab in Alex's heart. The journalists began to whisper, and I knew the news would spread quickly. These actions have not only harmed our company, but also attempted to undermine the trust that our investors, partners and customers have in us. I am here to reaffirm our commitment to integrity and innovation. We will not let dishonest tactics bring us down. When I finished, the room was completely silent. Then a journalist raised his hand. Ryan, how do you feel now that the truth has come out? I took a deep breath. I feel relieved and determined. Relieved that the truth is finally out, and determined that we will not stop here. We will continue to innovate, work hard and maintain our integrity. The press conference was a success. The news spread quickly, and Alex was unmasked. He lost the trust of investors and partners, and his company began to fall apart. On the other hand, our company was celebrated not only for surviving the crisis, but also for our resilience and integrity. Days later, I received an offer to expand our operations. It was an incredible opportunity to take our company to new heights. I accepted the offer with gratitude and a renewed sense of hope. The crisis had strengthened us, and we were ready for a new chapter of success.